Aries, you are up for the November Tarot Energy Reading. Before I go any further, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Okay, so this is the general reading. There will be a love reading. There will be a money reading. All of those for November. Whatever reading you watch or listen to, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it's not your story, don't try to make it fit. I'm just a person sitting here reading the energy and the tarot cards. You know your story better than I ever could. I'm using my custom quotes tarot deck. I will pull one card from here. I will pull one card from my oracle deck, and then I'll pull a few cards from my regular tarot deck. Let's get started. May I have the energy for Aries for November? May I have the energy for Aries for November? Energy for Aries for November. What is it that Aries needs to hear? What is it that Aries needs to hear? What is it that Aries needs to hear? Okay. So, for the card that came out, the quote is, "Success is what comes after you stop making excuses." And this is by Luis Galarza. So, success is what comes after you stop making excuses. So that is the quote card. All right. So for some of you, you need to hop to it. And just do it. Which, yeah, now I'm hearing that. Just do it. All right. Let's see what comes from the oracle. May I have the energy for Aries for November? Energy for Aries for November. Energy for Aries for November. What is it that Aries needs to hear? What is it that Aries needs to hear? What is it that Aries needs to hear? May I have a card, please? Okay, that's 2 minutes. May I have a card, please? Thank you. Oh, okay. Come on in, Freedom. So that's the card, Freedom. Some of you will be gaining your freedom in November. And freedom, obviously, is subjective. Some of you might get financial freedom. Some of you may get actual freedom. Or there may be somebody coming home from being locked up. You never know. Again, freedom is subjective. Something where there's some type of freedom. Some of you may be receiving more freedom because maybe you're not in a relationship anymore. Maybe you just are you're leaving a relationship. You end up leaving one in November. Whatever it is, there is something around you that you're dealing with that you will have more freedom when it comes to it. Some of you may be moving into your own place in November. That will give you more freedom. So whatever this freedom is, it can be anything. I feel for some of you, going back to the first card, talking about success is what comes after you stop making excuses. For some of you, the excuses may have been there, but now that you've actually got down to doing it and doing the work, you found success, or you're finding that in November. And once you find that, that is what will give you the freedom. For that, let's go ahead and take some tarot cards right quick. Energy for Aries for November. Energy for Aries for November. What is it that Aries needs to hear? What is it that Aries needs to hear? What is it that Aries needs to hear? May I have some cards, please? Thank you. Lovers coming out again. That came out in another reading. Lovers, Gemini energy can deal with actual love, or it can deal with a choice, where a choice has to be made. Let's see what other cards come out. Also, something could be happening for you in June, too. Thank you. There's something that's going to be brought to you. Someone's maybe an offer, a new opportunity, or you're starting something new. Thank you. You may be starting something new because you're tired of the conflict of where you're at now, because 5 of Wands came out. Thank you. Like I said before, some of you may be moving into another place because the 4 of Wands came out. I also feel if you end up moving into your own place with the 5 of Wands and the 4 of Wands, that's the 9 of Wands, you're setting boundaries. Maybe before you were dealing with someone or some people and there weren't a lot of boundaries. Hence, if you were staying with someone else, let's say you had a roommate or you were staying with your family or whatever, you didn't have the freedom like you had before. And because you were staying, you were staying with another individual or staying with a family member, you couldn't treat the living area as if it was your own, if that makes sense. Meaning, for example, you wouldn't be able to walk around naked in the house if you have you could, but it would be in poor taste. If you have a roommate or if you have family members, you wouldn't have that freedom to do what you want. You wouldn't have the freedom, and I'm just making this up, to drink straight from the milk carton. You wouldn't have the freedom to watch whatever TV show you want to watch in the den, because if you're staying with your parents, your mother may want to come home and watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. You never know. The point is that for those of you who are moving into a new home, 4 of Wands, with this 5 of Wands, one of the reasons that you decided to move is because you want to get away from the conflict. And now that you're getting away from it and into your own place, you're setting boundaries like, look, whatever you want to do at your place is fine, but when you come to my place, don't bring that drama over here, because I'm not dealing with it. So that's kind of the energy that I'm getting. I feel that there may be a monetary opportunity coming for you in November with this Page of Pentacles here. So I want to throw that out there. And especially with the lovers. Now, for some of you, there may be a situation where you're moving in with a lover. Not really picking that up, but it is a possibility. So just throwing it out there. Thank you. Now, this is interesting. Some of you may be moving from your parents' house into a roommate situation. Someone might be migrating into a roommate situation. In that, if you were staying with your parents, even if you're going from your parents to a roommate situation, that would still at least give you a little more freedom. You still don't have as much freedom as maybe you would like. Because again, if you're dealing with roommates, you have to be mindful of that. But certain things you can do living with a roommate, you can't do living with your parents. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But the thing that's coming to me most here is setting boundaries in your new home. What's at the bottom of the deck? I didn't even check that. Another page. But Page of Wands, well, all the pages are travel pages, but definitely Page of Wands is a travel page. 2. So passionate about something. What's under that? 5 of Cups. There's some sadness. 10 of Swords. Cycle coming to an end. Another page. Page of Cups. 8 of Pentacles. The Empress. 5 of, yeah, for some of you who are moving out of your parents' house, your mother isn't going to like it. Just letting you know now. Whether you're moving in with roommates or whether you're moving into your own place, your mother's not going to like it. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But that is your message. KIRWKC.com. Main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Till next time, be blessed.